Hello and welcome to the 2023 February DAC training on accommodations. My name is Kristen Roseberry. I'm a program consultant in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. This training is one in a series meant to prepare DACs and BACs for the upcoming spring state test administration. As a result of overwhelmingly positive feedback on the recorded trainings, OAA is continuing to provide pre-recorded trainings in advance of scheduled question and answer sessions. Today, we're going to talk about accommodated print materials, accommodated environment, Scribe, reader, stop the clock, calculators, other accommodations, and finally, we will discuss other resources. For accommodated print materials, these individual orders are required in Pearson Access. There are kits for Braille and large print. Please note that there will not be any shipping windows for accommodated materials. All accommodated materials will be submitted via an additional order. These step-by-step instructions can be found on the Pearson Access online support document. The testing environment can impact the way an accommodation is provided. With a rapid move to online testing, this is something that must be covered. The important takeaway is that the rules and regulations that govern accommodations do not change. A scribe still can only record what the student instructs the scribe to write. A reader still can only read the words as written on the test. Nothing changes in what accommodators and accommodations may do or provide. What changes is the medium in which the students and accommodators are interacting with the test. Some of the accommodations, which may look a little different, are Scribe, Human Reader, Stop the Clock, and Calculator. This is not an exhaustive list. To know exactly how these accommodations can be provided on a specific test, it is imperative to read the documentation for the test being proctored. For the Scribe accommodation, the technology checkbox is not required on the student's plan. It is still a one-to-one accommodation. Scribes can type for a student if the student is unable to type for themselves. All other rules surrounding the use of a scribe remain the same. The human reader accommodation can be administered one-to-one or a small group of students up to 4. If this accommodation is administered to a group of up to 4, the DAC or BAC may set up a read aloud session. This will automatically assign students to the same form and create a proctor ticket for the person administering the accommodation. All other guidelines for readers still apply. The proctor test ticket is designed to print out a ticket for the proctor to use to log into their own device and be able to read to one or a group of 4 students without having to read from a student's computer screen. When the read aloud session is created, it will provide one proctor ticket per session. If a session contains multiple students, the ticket cannot be copied and used simultaneously with multiple proctors at the same time. However, the ticket could be used successively to test students. For example, a proctor could test one student and provide reading services in a one-to-one environment, and when finished, use that same ticket to test a group of up to 4 students with similar accommodations. When using the proctor test ticket, please be aware of which ticket is being used to sign in. We advise printing the proctor test ticket on a different colored paper. If a student takes the assessment using a proctor test ticket, it will not save or report their answers, so please be aware. The student's plan must indicate that they receive online or a text reader. If the online text reader box is checked, that is the mode of reader that should be used during a state assessment. However, a human reader may correct a mispronunciation by the text reader if requested by the student. To turn on the text-to-speech functionality, 2 boxes must be checked, and detailed instructions are on the Kentucky portal. Some students have an accommodation for stopping the clock due to medical concerns. KDE generally accepts this as a valid state testing accommodation. The students should be tested in a one-on-one environment, and the test administrator should keep track of the time used and remaining. Providing additional time would not be permitted unless extended time was identified as part of the student's plan. Directions for temporarily exiting test nav 8, for example, to take a break or to move a student to another location before finishing the test can be found on page 36 of the Test Administration Manual. If a student exits test nav 8, either unintentionally or intentionally, before completing the test, then the student's test must be resumed by the test administrator before the student can continue with the same test. DACs and BACs are able to enable the online calculator functionality. They will also be able to set the flag. Pearson has guidance regarding this process and is also referenced in the online toolbox. The online Desmos calculators are linked on this slide. These calculators are specific to parameters set for Kentucky and differ from the ones on the regular Desmos site. We encourage you to have students practice with these calculators during regular instruction and classroom assessment. Handheld calculators are an allowed accommodation only if the following conditions are met. The student's plan indicates handheld calculator accommodation. The calculator is used in regular instruction, and the calculator is not prohibited on the KDE's calculator policy. In some instances, a student with a plan might use a device not listed on the approved calculator list. The district assessment coordinator must submit a written request to the Office of Assessment and Accountability for permission to allow that student to use this device not on the list. Students may receive other accommodations for example, manipulatives, word-to-word, etc. This slide does not include an exhaustive list. There may be others that are permitted on state assessments. Also, there have been several questions about sequestering students who are waiting to take their exam with accommodations. These students may work on other school-related activities while they are waiting, as long as they are not working on test preparation materials. Here are links to some resources specific to accommodations. The online testing toolbox gives policies, accommodation guides, technology guides, and general tips and best practices. The practice tests include accommodated practice tests to give staff and students familiarity with the text-to-speech function and are highly recommended. Finally, the accommodations bookmarks are a quick reference sheet for those providing accommodations. Since the live question and answer sessions will not include full presentations of content already covered in the video recordings, DACs and BACs should be prepared for the question and answer sessions. Before attending the sessions, DACs and BACs can be prepared by watching all or pertinent training videos on the administration of Spring 2023 assessments. These are the dates for our hybrid question and answer sessions and their locations. The February DAC question and answer sessions will follow the same topics and time frame at each location. The agenda and times on the slide will be followed. However, once an agenda item has no additional questions, staff will move on to the next topic. Participants planning to attend should plan for the entire meeting. This concludes the February DAC training on accommodations. We look forward to seeing you at our question and answer sessions. Thank you for your time.